What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my kitchen. On today's episode of Chanyata Chef, we are going to take a swing at making some homemade tomato sauce. A super simple, pretty quick recipe. What I've got here is about 5 pounds of tomatoes, some olive oil, black pepper, got some salt, some fresh basil, some fresh garlic, a little tomato paste, and a bay leaf. And as I'm starting to cook everything, I'll give you guys amounts and times as the video goes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little coring spoon to scoop out all the tomato tops, and then I'm going to take a paring knife and I'm going to trim off all of these little rough edges and stuff, and then I'm going to half them all. I'll just go ahead and pop off our little green top. Save those for your chickens. Use our little coring spoon, scoop it out, save those too. And we're going to cut her in half. And then just kind of take this little paring knife. Your tomatoes might have a little bit less of this than mine. And I'm just going to kind of get out all these little tough bits. Now once you get all your tomatoes halved, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come through with the spoon and you're going to want to try to scoop out all of the seeds. Now what I have here from out in my garden, these are Amish paste tomatoes. And paste tomatoes, as you can see, are very fleshy. They don't have a lot of juice to them. They don't have a lot of seeds to them. But if you're using a variety of tomatoes that does have a lot of juice, a lot more pulp and stuff in with the seeds, what you're probably going to want to do is when you're scooping all the seeds out, you're probably going to want to give it a good little squeeze over the bowl and help yourself work out some of that extra pulp. Because what we're after is the flesh of the tomato, not the seeds and not the pulp. Then once you've got all of the seeds and the pulp out of it, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to either get a tray or platter, kind of like what I have, or you're going to want to get some kind of baking sheet with sides, because this is going to be a little messy and a little juicy. Grab your box grater. Using the biggest holes on your box grater, you're going to grate down the tomato and get all the flesh out of it, leaving the skin. We don't want the skin, we just want the flesh out of the tomato. So you just kind of work it around. You'll be left with the skin. Those go out to the chickens, and what we have left here is all of the flesh. So I got all 5 pounds of those tomatoes grated up. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to go over here, we're going to get our garlic all prepped up, and then we're going to move on over to the stovetop and get to cooking. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get this garlic all chopped up. You might know this already, but one of the easiest ways to get the peels off of garlic is just to use the flat side of your knife, give it a little crunch, and it makes it a whole lot easier to peel them. The other thing that does is it starts the Allison reaction, Allicin. And what the Allison reaction is that is a chemical reaction that garlic goes through when it is chopped, crushed, or when heat is set to it. So what it does is it starts releasing all of those aromatics and flavors that garlic has. So if you do the crushing and the chopping before you take it over to the heat, it's going to get all of that going before you start cooking with it, and it's going to bring out even more of that beautiful garlic flavor. Now, I really like garlic, so I'm going to do 3 cloves. If you're not as much into garlic, do less. If you're more into garlic, do more. All of these are going to kind of be approximate measures. You're going to have to try it for yourself and see what you like in terms of the seasonings. Now we're over here on the stovetop. I've got this pan started on a little bit over a medium heat. We're going to take some good olive oil, get ourselves a couple of good tablespoons of good olive oil in the pan. Yeah, a little bit more. And then we're going to add our garlic. We're going to let our garlic start to warm up, keep working on that Allison reaction, and then we'll add our tomatoes, and we'll go from there. Our 3 cloves of garlic. Starting to get some good sizzle. One of those times I wish they had smell-o-vision. So the garlic's been going for about 4 minutes or so. I turned the temperature up a little bit. I'm going to try to bring the oil temperature up some so when I add the tomatoes, it doesn't quite drop back down as much. I've got the tomatoes here. I'm going to be careful when I dump it in, cold going into the hot oil. Watch out, it might spit a little bit. But we'll add our tomatoes in. Give that a good stir, incorporate the garlic into the tomatoes. We're going to keep the temperature up pretty high for this. We want to bring this up to a boil. While this is all warming back up and incorporating, we're gonna go ahead, add our basil. This was like one stick of basil off of our little basil plant. So it probably was 6 or 7, maybe 8 good-sized basil leaves. We're gonna add a good teaspoon of salt. And you can always come back later and put in more salt if you like it a little saltier, but it's hard to take it back out. And then we're gonna do a good healthy tablespoon of tomato paste to help thicken it all up. Throw in a bay leaf. And last but not least, we'll crack in some fresh black pepper. I like pepper. You don't have to put in as much as me. And we'll stir to incorporate it all. Once that tomato paste clump heats up a little bit, it'll start to break down. So don't worry if it stays a little clumpy at first. Once you get it up to a boil, we're going to come back and keep stirring it, but we're going to bring it down to a simmer, and we're going to let it simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes, let it reduce down and let it thicken up. While your sauce is thickening up, if you're going to do pasta, now's a good time to go ahead, turn on your pasta water. We'll put a little bit of salt in there. We're going to get that to boiling so we can get the pasta cooked while the sauce is thickening up. One thing I do want to make mention of while this is reducing down, this definitely is not like your typical marinara sauce. This is a fresh tomato sauce, so expect lots of that bright, beautiful, fresh tomato flavor. It's going to taste a whole lot more like eating a tomato right out of the garden than it's going to taste like a can of ragu or something along the lines of that. So as this is cooking down, just like when you're cooking anything, taste, taste, taste. Make sure it tastes good. So the pasta's just about done. The sauce is reduced by about half. It's really thickened up. It's not ever going to be as thick as marinara sauce. That's just not what this kind of sauce is going to be. Make sure you fish out the bay leaf. We're going to let it cool a little bit. Give it one last taste, see if it needs a little more salt and pepper or anything. And then I'm going to go ahead and stick it in a couple of jars. You see it's past 10 o'clock already, so I'm not going to eat a big old plate of pasta tonight. But I'm going to pack some in my lunch tomorrow and enjoy it. Lunch packed for tomorrow. Got it over a little pasta with some chicken sausage that I had. And then got 2 little cans, 2 little jars of it I'll put in the fridge and snack on that this week. Well, I hope everybody had fun on this edition of the Chanyata Chef with me. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon if you want to get notifications of any of my new videos coming out here on my farm channel. And until next time, guys, we'll see you.